I took that first bump. I was obsessed with it. Things happened pretty quick. I started in 99, by 2001, I was in WCW.
What would your career look like if you got WWE much earlier?
I don't think I was sure who AJ Styles was exactly.
It is impossible to have a TNA Mount Rushmore without AJ Styles' face on there. Who are the other three?
Chris Daniels, Samoa Joe, a lot of people would say Kurt.
You debuted at the Rumble in 2016. We popped for the word phenomenal.
One of the best moments in my wrestling career. That moment I will never forget.
Do you want to wrestle in your 50s?
No.
What does life after wrestling look like?
I'm not afraid of retirement. I think it's going to be great. I hope to have a good storyline that leads up to the retirement.
You're finally making this happen.
Finally.
Finally.
Holy God. It's more my fault than yours, obviously. But
we were supposed to do a Bad Blood weekend.
Yep.
And I got a text from you the night before, and you're like, I think I might have broken my ankle or foot or both.
yeah, little did I know it was actually worse than breaking it. I didn't know at the time, but yeah, that was like, oh crap. So,
How heartbreaking was it though? It's your return, and then you get put on the shelf again.
Oh man, and I knew I broke it, right? Because if you've broken it before, same foot.
Yeah.
I was like, I broke it again, and I'm pissed because now I know how long it's going to take to get back. But like again, little did I know it was much worse than a break.
What was worse about it?
Because it's tendons, and my doctor, who was also my friend, it was like, do not look this up. I'm like, I'm gonna look this up, and it's a career-ending injury. It happens in car wrecks and in professional football mostly. That's usually when it happens. And in football, of course, like it's one of those things, depending how severe it is. And I was literally by the skin of my teeth. I was able to. They were like, we can't have surgery. We can do surgery on your foot, and it will heal faster. But there could be complications as you get older. We don't know if we don't have to have surgery. Let's try to do some therapy and get it back to where it is. And lucky for me, man, I was able to get that therapy that I needed. It wasn't easy. It sucked. It's so crazy that you have to learn how to walk again. To
This means a lot to me that we're sitting down. You were my guy. You were.
get that therapy that I needed. It wasn't easy. It sucked. It's so crazy that you have to learn how to walk again to a certain extent. Like, how did I forget how to run? Little things like that. Because I was in a boot for 6 weeks, and I got 6 weeks, in therapy trying to figure this thing out. It'll mess with you.
But 3 months after the injury, you're back.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. But and you haven't lost a step.
I think it's one of those things where I'm so afraid of losing a step. I'm doing everything I can to make sure it doesn't look like I've lost a step.
Yeah.
But it took a toll on me. Like it's still because I go out there and listen. I got 2 gears, all or nothing. Is that 1 gear? I don't know. But the fact that I'm gonna go in there and give it all, and then after the adrenaline wears off, I was like, it's sore a little bit. So you might catch me limping afterwards until I get used to this foot. Having all the stretching it out, so all those tendons, stuff like that. But so far so good.
Did you have a moment after that injury where you're like, this might be it?
This is it. I was like, this is it. How am I gonna recover again? I was like, this might be it.
Really?
And it sucked because like you said, I just came back. I was not hurt. Previous, after I wrestled Cody, right, in the I Quit match, I was not hurt during that time. So I'm sitting, I'm going, okay, guys, okay. And then, hey, we're gonna bring you back in Nashville. It's gonna be great. Hurt myself.
Yeah.
I was like, mother. I was like shoot pissed. I was mad. Like it may look like I was acting. I was not.
You don't curse though. So it was a lot of frickins.
A lot of freaks. It was one of those you're so mad you don't. What can you say?
Yeah.
And so you maybe try to beat on the mat. I was so mad, because this is my moment. I screwed it up.
But you're back now.
And I'm back now. Mind you, I say I screwed it up, not anybody else. This isn't ballet. This is wrestling. People get hurt. Mistakes happen, and I blame nobody but myself.
Yeah.
So just want to throw that out there.
This means a lot to me that we're sitting down. You were my guy. I'd never seen anyone work like you before when I saw you in TNA.
Oh wow.
So for us to be sitting down now, almost 20 years after me watching your first match, this means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah. Shoot, I've been looking forward to this. I know. I said this before we started talking on. Like you have had interviews with anybody who's ever done anything in wrestling, especially. And I was like, man, I've got to get with this guy. We've got to do something. And then, like you said, then I get hurt, and then oh no, is this gonna happen? So no, man, it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, thank you. And like going back to that, I'd never seen anyone work like you before. Where did that come from? Like I remember the first time I saw you, I went, this guy must have been a gymnast or something like that.
No, never a gymnast. I wrestled in, I played sports in high school, and I wrestled in college, and my wife was a cheerleader, and so she knew how to do flips, and I thought it can't be that hard. And then we hung out after school. I remember there was a pole vaulting mat that you could they just left out there, right? But it was soft land, so I was like I could practice my backflips and stuff. And it kind of came naturally, wasn't that hard. And she was the one that showed me how that make sure it's right. And then I perfected it a little bit more. And then once you do one back tuck, you kind of figure it out. Like and once you can control your body, all these flips become easy. They're not very hard anymore. Once you experience it, because it's like a cart. If you want to do a standing tuck correctly, it's you jump straight up and then you turn. It's like the cartoon, right? Just like that. It feels really weird, but once you figure that out, everything else becomes easy. I think.
What did you think you were going to do for a living before you started wrestling?
I really didn't have a clue, to be honest with you. As a kid, you're like a basketball player, football player, something.
What was your sport?
We didn't have football in elementary school where I was at, so I played basketball. That was my sport, baseball. By the time I got to middle school, I just was playing basketball. By the time I got to high school, it then turned into wrestling and track and football, and then settled down to just football and wrestling as I graduated. So I was into everything, but I knew I wasn't going to be a football player. I knew I could go to and wrestle in college, but then what? Never really knew. Honestly, I was kind of lost there for a minute. When I started training, I was a bottled water delivery guy, like a big 5-pound jug. I was carrying them in, and doing that. That's what I did. So luckily, I think wrestling found me. And once I thought that there was a chance of being able to make money in wrestling, going, this is a good idea. Didn't matter anymore because I fell in love with it.
You kind of found it by accident, though, right?
Yeah. I had some friends who said they were going to go to a training, somewhere to train. I go, oh yeah, right. I bet you are. And sure enough, they found a place about 30 minutes from the house. I was like, okay, I'll meet you guys up there. I'll check it out with you. And I took that first bump. I was hooked. I knew I could do this. I don't know what it was because it wasn't a pleasant, bump, right? It doesn't feel good. Most people think it's trampoline. It is not even close. But it was at that moment I was like, I can do this. And then I was obsessed with it. And you couldn't have told me any different. My girlfriend, bless her heart, on the weekends we're supposed to be spending time. We're going to independent matches, in little barns and terrible looking places and armories. And I had to tell her, like, one day this is going to pay off. She still ended up marrying me, by the way. I don't know why. But yeah, thank God. That was, We've been married for I think it's 24 years now.
You think it is?
2000, is that right? 24 years.
This will be
August will be 25. So we're doing good. That might be the only thing I actually was right about. Is one day this was going to pay off. Luckily it did, because it was torture to her. Like, go on a date to an indie show. This sucks.
Was there a point where it didn't feel like it was going to pay off?
I don't know. I feel like things happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I got in the ring way before I was supposed to, because I could do flips. And I mean, a month into training, I was already in the ring. That's way dumb. But the opportunity to learn from guys in the ring while you're wrestling is, I think, the best way to learn. And you better learn quick, or nobody's going to want to wrestle you. So I was a sponge, man. Anytime someone told me something, they only had to tell me once. I was going to make sure that I remembered it. And it just kind of took off from there. And then we had kind of a developmental with WCW at the time. We had some big. That's the first time I met Bob Sapp. He came in and became friends with him because he was doing his thing for WCW, and a lot of the other guys were there from WCW. And so while they were watching their guys, they were able to see Air Paris and myself wrestling and having decent matches and doing some crazy stuff. And that's how we got our opportunity in WCW.
We're wrestling fans, and we love a good movie about pro wrestling. Have you heard about the new movie called Queen of the Ring, which opens up nationwide on March 7th? It tells Camille, Naomi, and Jim Cornette. Make sure you check out Queen of the Ring when it opens up in theaters nationwide on March.
Extra stuff, in WCW. But it was that chance to get in there and do it in a WCW ring in Baltimore, as a matter of fact. They gave us a trial in Baltimore, Air Paris and myself, and kind of busted out the shoot star to the floor in that match and other things that I'm sure I'd hate now watching, But that was, we were only into, I started in 99. By 2001, I was in WCW.
Wow.
That's kind of quick.
Yeah.
So I was at the right place, the right time, the right guys watching.
How close were you at that point in time to maybe possibly going to WWE?
I don't think it was close at all.
Didn't they offer you a developmental deal?
So it was after WCW went under, right? So I'd been under contract with WCW for 5 months. Johnny Ace calls me and said, WWE's not picking up your contract. And it freaking broke me. So I went to and felt sorry for myself for about a good week. And I was like, all right, here we go. And so I believe, I'm trying to think how quickly it happened. I want to say that at that moment, I believe the NWA was having their 53rd anniversary. And I believe that was in Petersburg, Florida. Does that sound right? Petersburg? Anyway, somewhere down in Florida.
Yeah.
And some Japanese guys were going to be down there. And I was like, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to wrestle. They're going to want me. I'm going to go to Japan and wrestle. That's how I'm going to make it back.
Wow.
I went down there.
Yeah.
I wrestled Christopher Daniels for the first time. First time we met, first time we wrestled. And we connected, man. Like, it was perfect. Like, our timing was the same. Everything was, and Christopher Daniels at that time was like, if you can't have a good match with him, you might as well quit. And we gelled so well. After that match, I really started traveling a lot. But I think during that time of doing indies and traveling a lot, I want to say that's when I was offered. I did 2 dark matches for WWE, and I was offered a contract for $500 a week. Oh, sorry, $500. Yeah, it was a week. $500 a week to move to Cincinnati. And I'm sure you've heard the story before, but like, I was like, wait. So I have to move to Cincinnati for, I'll make $500 a week, the same amount of money I was making at my bottled water job, and I'm gonna have to pay a lot more taxes on that $500 that I'm making. And I'm just thinking all this stuff in my head. My wife can't move with me. She's in college, about to finish. She's gonna be a teacher. And I was like, this just doesn't sound right. And I believed in my heart that I was making the right decision. And I even told Johnny, as much as I'd love to come up there and train, I just could not have my wife moving with her parents. I didn't think that was right. My job is to take care of her, not the other way around.
It's just crazy to think. You were saying no to WWE at that time.
I said no. I said no. I said no to a developmental that's never promised, right?
That's true. Yeah.
HWA was the developmental back then. But you know what? Not only was it the best decision because TNA would happen shortly after that in 2002, but HWA stopped being a developmental for them shortly after that as well. So I am guaranteed to not have made it through that cut again. I wouldn't have made it. I mean, I wasn't a big guy. What did I have to offer them? There was no smaller guys really that did anything in WWE at that time. So I think it worked out pretty good based on what happened.
And you were the perfect person at the perfect time in TNA.
Again, I remember Jerry Jarrett. I was told that they were doing an independent show. I didn't really know much about it. They were looking for talent. I didn't think anything. It was just another indie show. I was getting money to do it. Okay, I can do it. Drive up to Nashville. Me and David Young had a match that we've had before. Just turned it up a little bit because they wanted to see more. That was it. I didn't think much of it. And again, I was at the right place at the right time with the right guy watching.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, now with TNA, so I'm going up. I think it was every Wednesday.
It was every Wednesday for what, $9.99?
Yeah,
I think, right?
yeah. Well, again, I'm not thinking anything.
Is it still NWA TNA?
It's NWA TNA. Yeah, we still had girls dancing in the cages. So yeah, I didn't think much of it. I think it was going to last. I'm sure no one did. And based on what happened, it shouldn't have lasted. Because I think I don't say they got scammed, or maybe it is. And they were supposed to get this, they didn't get that. Not as many people could see it as we thought. And luckily, the Carters came in and kind of picked that thing up. And then after about 3 months of being on NWA TNA, I was like, oh, I guess this is a thing now. And then it kind of grew pretty quick after that. So
when did you start to feel like the guy in TNA?
Oh no, I don't.
Stop being modest.
I'm serious. Like, I believe that I can have good matches with anybody, but I felt like there was always someone that I can learn from. And as long as there's always someone I can learn from, and to me, if I can learn from you, that means you're a bigger star. And I always felt like I was still surrounded by those guys because we had Sting come in, and I respect that guy so much. Such a nice guy. And I was thank God he wasn't some of these other heroes that other guys I met, but mine was freaking awesome. No Sting. And we got Kevin Nash, Booker T. Like, I learned something from all these guys. And then Kurt Angle, as it progressed, these are the guys that I'm in the ring with, learning from. So I just never felt like I was that guy. I think I really felt like I was doing something right as a star when I turned into Lone Wolf AJ. I felt like that was really coming into my own, doing what I wanted to do, being who I wanted to be. I think that one helped a lot because there's a part of it that was very real. So it was easy to get in character.
I just remember seeing my first ever X Division match and just being like, I love this. And it's like, it's you and it's Joe and it's Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Amazing Red. Like, the talent that was around there. Low key. Yeah, the mid 2000s was insane. Sanjay died. Like, so many talented, insanely talented people.
Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, like all those guys were there. I mean, it was stacked and everybody knew it. And we were doing something special. And even the Ultimate X match was special. It was different. It was weird. Like the 6-sided ring was different. It made us different. It sucked as a ring.
Really?
Oh, I didn't realize how rough it was on my body until we got back to a squared ring. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot that these are much better to bump in.
The ropes or the actual mat?
The actual mat, because it's pillars under the six-sided ring, the pillar, so you can move them in and out. Where in a square ring, it's in the middle, right? That bounce, whatever you might get, you could take a bump right on that pillar. So you can imagine that hurts. And so there was a point in time where we were overseas and we're in England and it was a big show, and Kurt and I, we're wrestling. He was going to give me the belly off top. I remember taking that. I go, I'm never taking that again. Don't ask me, Kurt. It's killing me. And then of course we get the square ring. He's like, hey, do you mind? I'm like, oh, okay. And he gave me it in a square ring, and I was like, oh, I landed, and it was like nothing compared to what it was. I was like, oh, I can take that. And right then and there, as pissed off as I was about going to a squared ring and abandoning the six-sided ring, it was at that moment I go, I'm okay with the squared ring now.
But just from a fundamental standpoint of just like optics, were you upset when they got rid of the six-sided ring?
That's because that's who we were.
Yeah.
When you saw TNA and you saw a six-sided ring, you knew that was TNA. No one were doing that. Maybe in Mexico, but we made it who we were.
Yeah.
And I think they lost their identity to a certain extent when they went to just a regular ring, just like everybody else.
It was a few things. It was a six-sided ring, and the way the camera moved on the jib.
Oh yeah.
Nobody was doing that at that point in time.
Yeah.
The camera would move all the way around on the shark.
Yeah. And they did some innovative stuff. It's easy to know if you've done something well in another company if WWE then starts doing it. I'm like, that's a good idea. We'll do it too.
Yeah.
And their production's always better. But if I were running a company and you were doing something that translated well to fans, guess what? I'm gonna do it too.
My most rewatchable match of all time is Unbreakable 2005. So it's you and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels. Just take me to that week. You're setting up this match, and you know it's going to be different, but you probably don't know it's going to be that great.
No, that great. Because we've wrestled each other so much, not necessarily in triple threat, but we've wrestled each other. We know each other very well. It could have been better. No. We went home way earlier than we were supposed to. We got mixed up in a spot. Joe did something. I was like, wait, are we supposed to be going here? Nope. Bam, we did it anyway. So we ad-libbed a good 10 minutes of that match. All that at the end is totally ad-libbed. Like, thank God we knew each other so well, because we could just communicate and get to where we needed to be. So it could have been really good. It was just good.
But did you know afterwards, and even though we ad-libbed it, how special?
We knew it was good because we pulled out some pretty cool stuff within that match that we hadn't done before.
Yeah.
So yeah, we knew it was good, but we didn't know people were going to praise it as much as they did. We're just going out there doing our thing. This is what we do.
That's the type of match, though, that if you weren't watching TNA at that point in time, you watch that match and you go, well, how can I not watch this?
Yeah, well, that's a good thing, right? And I think we were the main event of that pay-per-view. So it definitely worked out. And I don't think an X Division match had been the main event until then. So we knew that we had to put on a show, but then again, we weren't stressed to the point where, oh God, this is a make or break for us. No, we just went out there and did what we did, and it just worked out perfect for three guys who know each other. I can call Samoa Joe's moves, I can call Christopher Daniels' moves, I can call all their moves to them, and they could do the same with each other and myself. Yeah. So we knew each other so well, it almost didn't matter that we kind of went home a little early because we found a way to make it work.
What's the biggest difference between that version of you 20 years ago and this version of you that wrestles now?
I think it's intensity. I'm very, very intense, and this like I blow myself up, bringing the intensity rather than running the ropes, like because I want them to see this anger. Like when AJ gets in the ring, it snaps. Like I'm a different person. Like I will smile before and after, but when we step through those ropes, I'm gonna take somebody's head off. Like I want you to see it in everything that I do. I want you to think, I think this guy's really pissed. He may hurt me. Like I want them to get the idea of who I am. So I've turned up that intensity, and little things like flips and stuff like that. They're cool if they're done at the right place at the right time, because I've realized that people don't remember wrestling; they remember moments. And I want to make moments happen rather than the wrestling. And sometimes it's those little things in between the wrestling that are the biggest spots. Like I want people to watch my match and go, "Wow, that was good," and then someone asks, "Well, what was so good about it?" Like I don't know. It just was. It's because of all those little things in between that make the match.
How long did it take you to realize you didn't need to do flip after flip after flip in order to have a great match?
Oh man, slowly but surely it dawned on me. I remember being at an indie show, and there's so many great guys at that time that were doing indies, and by the time I got there, every flip had been done. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I did, just a regular house show dive, but really try to make it as pretty as I can. And I got the same reaction had I just jumped over the top rope and did a crazy flip. I was like, wait a minute, if that's all I have to do, let me make sure that I make the little things look like they're effortless and beautiful, and rather than doing something that could I could get dropped on my head or somebody not catch me at all, this seems a lot easier. And how can I keep doing that and using it at the right time rather than every time?
Are there moves you can't do now?
I can't do the spiral tap
at all.
I can't.
I bet you could pull it out.
Listen, it's scary because it's a front flip and I'm twisting, and so if you don't use it, you lose it. That's real. And I'm a little scared that I can't pull it off the way that I have before, and until I get back in some gymnastic place and work on it, it's just not going to happen.
When was the last time you did a spiral tap?
I'm Madeline Matlock, like the old TV show.
To Mandy and Georgie in their new home.
Check it. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Matt Hardy when I wrestled at TNA. Maybe it was Bubba. I can't remember.
So 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've lost it. It's a different kind of flip. It's not the same. Even when I watch other guys do it, I still don't do it like them.
No, they don't do it like you.
That's a better way of saying it. So yeah, they like to twist themselves as they're coming off. I don't want to twist. I want to peek and then turn. So it's a little bit different. So there's a stalling involved to make it look beautiful and then go. But I kind of lost it. Man.
How did you realize you could even do it?
Wow, that's I remember. So in WCW, I was doing the shoot star to the floor. Billy Kidman hated me. Was like he would call me AJ Styles, and I wanted to hurt him so bad. Legit. But he was Kidman at that time, and WCW can't be touched. I was like, all right, and so they asked me if I wanted to do the shoot star. I said, no, I won't do it. It's Kidman's move. I'll just do something that he can't. And that's how I came with Spiral Tap. Wow. So yeah, all because Kidman hated me doing the shoot star press, but at the time he wasn't doing it. So they did come back and started doing it. So kudos to him.
I always loved the backflip into the reverse DDT.
Yeah, so that's something I got from Dragon Kid. I mean, guys in my era of wrestling, we watched everything. WCW, WWE, old school, Japan, Noah, All Japan, New Japan, Michinoku Pro. Like we watched all this stuff. And so while we were tape trading, I got one of Dragon Kid doing the backflip catch, and they put you in the Dragon Sleeper. Right, and I go, well, I'm a big fan of Sting. What if I flip, catch, right into the Scorpion Death Drop? That's how that came up. Now, we still don't have a name for it. I think they've called it the Phenomenal something. I don't know. But I was like, hey, I'm going to hit you with the back flip slap drop. Yeah. Doesn't sound as cool, I know. But I think it was a style in DDT. Maybe that's what it was called. But, I was there. I had a couple moves where I've told, guys the name of it. They're like, what? Don't you? Like, yeah, they want me to name it something else. I'm like, sorry, man. I don't.
When was the last time you did that? I don't think you've done that in WWE.
Yeah, I've done it. But there's guys that are capable of understanding what it is. Some guys don't know. And so for those who know, it makes perfect sense. It's an easy move for them to take. For those who've never, they don't understand it, it can get sloppy real quick. So you got to pick and choose who you do it with. So it turns out right. Not everybody can do these moves because they've not practiced them. If you came up on the indies, you had to be able to know how to do everything. And I think that's why so many of us, in that era of, we were able to do everything. We could take everything. We could do everything. And, aside from Joe, we were all kind of similar size. We weren't too big. We weren't too small. We were right there in the middle. We could work anybody. Joe, he's such an amazing athlete that he's not supposed to be able to do the things that he does. And he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. So not everybody's a Samoa Joe. There's nobody like him.
And nobody moves like him.
Man, he's amazing. And I remember people being intimidated by Joe. And I was like, have you ever worked him? They go, no, dude. I was like, he's so good that he has scared you when he hadn't even touched me in the ring, but it makes it look like he's killing me. Like, that's how good he is. So, yeah, Samoa Joe is one of the best.
When you were doing your best work in TNA, was there ever an opportunity during any of that point to get scooped up and go to WWE?
No one ever really said anything to me. But I'll tell you, there was an instance when Christian and Dixie came out and kind of it was a big meeting. And Dixie came out and said, listen, and basically said something to the fact, like, if you don't want to be here, we'll let you go. And at that moment, I looked over at Christian to see what he was going to do.
What year would this be?
It's got to be 2009, 8, 10, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I was watching him because I looked up to Christian. Like, he's amazing too. This guy's like, he's a ring general for sure. And I was watching him to see if he got up, because if he had gotten up,
I was like, you had to leave during that meeting?
I don't know when she expected us to leave, but I kind of felt like she was saying that you can go now. Wow. And I was seriously, if he would have got up, I would have got up too. And hopefully he would have got me in the WWE or something.
But there were never any like, hey, when's your contract up? We'd like to chat with you.
No, never really heard anything. Never. So.
And it wasn't even like when you did leave TNA, there was a gap before debuting in WWE.
Yeah. Even there was talks about Japan, but they already, like, I remember them thinking that, he doesn't want to come here. He wants to do the TNA stuff. I'm like, well, no, his contract's not over. Wait,
And the contract ended in 2014.
Yes.
And you debuted at the Rumble in 2016. So there was, a year and a bit?
Yeah. And even I think there were a couple months in between. I did Ring of Honor and stuff like that before I went to. It just the timing kind of worked out. Because Finn was leaving, and we literally just switched places. Except he went to WWE, and I went to Japan.
Was something happening at TNA in that point in time? Because think about it, you left in 2016, Bobby Roode left in 2016, Kurt Angle left in 2016. I think some other people as well. What was going on at that point?
They hired Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and I believe Eric was trying to do the right thing to see where we're at, as far as getting people more eyes on us, that we're growing. And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. We lost a lot of money. I think I was kind of pissed at Hogan at the time, because I was like, why does he talk about TNA? Why is he not helping us? He's not advertising at all. His book or whatever it is, he was right at the time of the shows. He never talked about TNA. I was pissed. But I now realize, I think he was embarrassed. It was embarrassing to him to talk about that. So he did it. And, I think Dixie was trying to do some things, and it was just they keep butting heads. So it just kind of fell apart. And when it fell apart, they lost a lot of money. When they lost a lot of money, they expected me to take a pay cut. My contract was up. And
is that number right? 60% pay cut?
It was.
60% pay cut for a guy who's been there 12 years.
And has done nothing but good work there.
You were the face of TNA.
And they didn't say they were going to, the dates are not going to be as me. They didn't say that either.
Well, 60% less dates.
Plus the same amount of travel and everything. And so I was like, it was one of those things. I was like, man, this ain't right. On principle alone, I can't be here anymore. And I think they expected me to stay anyway. There was I remember the day before Thanksgiving, John, what's Big John's last name? He works for WWE now. Sorry, John, I don't know your name anymore. Anyway, Big John. He called me and goes, hey, I'm over at a friend's house having Thanksgiving. And he says, hey, we're going to have you drop the championship, the next show. I go, okay, all right, no problem. Because I think they were expecting me to go, hold on a second, wait, I'll sign. But I was like, man, I'm not going to do this with you. You want me to lose, that's fine, I can lose. Expecting me to go, hold on a second, wait, I'll sign. He called me and goes, hey, I'm like, man, this ain't right. On principle alone, I can't be here anymore. And I think they expected me to stay anyway. There was I remember the day before Thanksgiving, John, what's Big John's last name? He works for WWE now. Sorry, John, I don't know your name anymore. Anyway, Big John. He called me and goes, hey, I'm over at a friend's house having Thanksgiving. And he says, hey, we're going to have you drop the championship, the next show. I go, okay, all right, no problem. Because I think they were expecting me to go, hold on a second, wait, I'll sign. But I was like, man, I'm not going to do this with you. You want me to lose, that's fine, I can lose. And then I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to be all right. It was, again, timing was perfect. I didn't know it at the time. I was a little scared, because now, after leaving TNA, if I don't work, I don't get paid. That's how that works.
Yeah.
So I can't get hurt. And, for like 3 months, I think, before I started New Japan, I was hustling. And then Japan happened, and it really blew up. That was, again, timing, so yeah.
What would your career look like, do you think, if you had done WWE much earlier?
Wouldn't work. I don't think I was sure who AJ Styles was exactly. I don't think I was mature enough to, I don't say mature enough. Maybe I wasn't going to be bullied. I promise you that. And I think some of that went on. I'm just not that type of guy. I mean, I'll take a little bit, then we're going to start swinging. I'm not going to get bullied. That's just, I was raised different. So I'm not saying everybody was like that, but I've heard some of that stuff goes on. I'm not one of those guys who goes out and drinking with the guys, and just, I'm not doing that. I don't think it worked out. It would have worked out for me. The time that I spent in Japan and the way that I wrestled there, I just brought that same guy to WWE, at least by the second match I had. The first match, I was trying to be what I thought they wanted. And to Vince's credit, he told me what he wanted. And I was like, oh, I know that guy. I know him. I'm going to give you that guy, because that's who I wanted to be anyway.
I also felt like it took you a little while to find out who you were. Like, the charisma you had later in your TNA run is a lot more what we see now.
Yes.
Versus the promos you were cutting early in TNA.
Well, because if you don't believe in what you're saying, it's hard to get into whatever that character is. Even when I was the Prince of Phenomenal, like, I enjoyed that as much as people hated it, because I was able to show a different part of AJ Styles. Be a little goofy, do little goofy things, with Christian and then Kurt Angle and all that stuff that we did. That was good television to me, as much as people hated it. But, turns into Lone Wolf AJ Styles, which essentially is who you got in Japan. Just turned up a little bit more, having a little bit more fun rather than being angry all the time. That's all that was.
What's the scariest moment you've had in the ring?
Oh, I can tell you. Ultimate X, Chris Sabin, myself, and Petey Williams, which I think is a fantastic match.
It is.
Watch back.
Yep.
For some reason, I thought that was such a good idea. If I could hang from the rope, and Sabin, I knew was very capable of springboarding, drop kicking me to the point where I'll do, I guess it's an inside out swing front flip. Like when he hit me, I let go and I go, oh my God, as I'm coming down, I was able to think to myself, I'm about to land on the back of my head, and I'm probably not going to get up from this. And I'm thinking about this as I go, I'm going down, and I land perfect. And I was like laying there selling, going, I'm never ever doing that again. Ever will do that again. Yeah, that was a scariest time.
That was you were heading on, like it looked like you were about to land on your head.
Oh man, I thought it was. I literally thought it was. If you could see me, I am touched so hard trying to make sure that I made it. I didn't think I was going to. I thought I was literally laying on the back of my head. I'd have been out cold for sure.
There was a spot in a cage match where you jump off the cage, and I think you must have clipped the edge of the cage. Nobody catches you.
Oh no, I should have known better. I should have known. I'd have soul called me. They fall down the radio, but no one called me.
They didn't catch you.
I mean, I just ate the match, and it was my idea. So you know what? I mean, you're in there with a bunch of guys who, you know, they're getting closer to the end of their career. Do they run a risk catching a kid that would be fine even if we don't catch him? You know, it's my fault.
That landing was like splat.
I don't think I hit anybody with my hands. They just kind of fell like I went bowling or something like that. But I didn't touch anybody.
How did you even get the idea in Lethal Lockdown? The ladder's going to be on top of that, and then you're going to climb and you're going to hang from like the lighting scaffold.
I have no idea who thought that was a good idea. It probably was me, but because it was me and James Storm that got up there and started fighting, I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember James being like, "Dude, what if we go through it? What if we go through the top of the cage?" Like, oh, I hope that didn't happen. You know, so when we go through, you'll see his hands come out like this to grab. So if he started going through, he was gonna hang on to something. But it worked out. You know, it was fun. That was an easy bump for both of us, I think.
Did you ever have an idea? Because you did insane stuff in TNA. You've done insane stuff in WWE too. But did you ever have an idea where you're like, "No, that's too much. I can't do that."
Oh man, not TNA. I mean, it's pretty. You know, there was a spot where Petey Williams and I were talking. He goes, "Hey, what if I give you this German suplex and you gut yourself on the guardrail? I'll have you on the apron and German suplex you. You do the flip bump and gut yourself on the guardrail." What a terrible idea that is. We tried it, but when I went to jump, I could feel it just yank me back. Instead of up, I went back. And so I just ate that guardrail on my back from a German. Oh, man. I've had some terrible ideas that didn't go as planned, but then I've had some good ones that turned out to be all right.
I remember watching Elevation X live, and Rhino's lining you up for a gore, and I am worried for both of your well-being at this point. Like, how is Rhino not going to fall? And also, how are you not going to fall taking a gore 20 feet above the ring?
Weakest gore ever given, I think. Because I don't know if he was genuinely, like, scared of heights, but it sure didn't look like it. Like, I was okay with it. And I'll tell you this. That match, Rhino was scheduled to lose. I was like, he can't fall off this thing. He'll break his ankles. Like, he's too big. Like, I have to lose. I have to fall. Like, we can't let him do this. He's going to get hurt. And so that's how that happened. But I thought it was very clever. And Rhino, credit to him, had a lot of these good ideas. It's like, just hide and we'll have the crowd tell me where you are. And it worked out so good. Again, that's one of those matches that this is going to be terrible. It turned out to be really, really good. I thought it was very entertaining. And even just like you, the fans were actually scared for us.
Yes.
And so, because it was high. You look back at it, holy crap, that was way up there. And you got what, maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet at the most, as far as a scaffold to walk around on. It was, yeah. I think for what we had, we made it work better than anybody thought we could.
So you guys know that I'm always keeping an eye on what I eat, but what Magic Spoon does, and the Magic Spoon's high-protein treats are an easy way to get 12 grams of grocery store. That's Magic Spoon.
Frankie, you know, started us off, bro, and it was exciting because you knew we were growing. Spike TV, I believe, we were part of that going on, and we knew we were growing, and that was exciting. I thought those were some really good years. And then we introduced Joe, and he's freaking killing everybody, and it's just Kurt Angle.
Like, Christian arrives in 05, Angle arrives in 06, like those years.
I think Joe arrived in
04 or 05,
something around there, right?
It's just some TNA historian in the comments.
Yeah. It kind of all runs together, you know. But it was just some really, really cool moments. Like we got Christian, we got Kurt Angle. Like nobody knew about Kurt.
Yeah, that was a legit secret, right?
Oh man, nobody knew. We saw the video. We're all watching. What is this? And then Kurt, like, whoa, holy cow! So yeah, it was an exciting time, man. It really was. And we were all. I feel like we were all kind of the way some of the NXT kids are. I see this in them, where they know each other by their real names because they've been training together and they want to see each other succeed and do well. That's the way we were. We weren't trying to stab each other back. We wanted each other to do really, really well. Still the show, man. We want you to do it. You know, because it's only going to make what we're doing better. And everybody was like that. It was a really cool time.
It is impossible to have a TNA Mount Rushmore without AJ Styles' face on there. So please do not be modest for the next minute or two.
Okay.
Your face is on there. Who are the other three?
You know, I'm biased though.
That's fine.
Because I'm going to put my guys on there. The guys that I had unbelievable matches. You know, Chris Daniels, Samoa Joe.
We got one more spot. That's it.
I know. See, that's the problem. You know, I think a lot of people would see Kurt because he was there for a long time.
And he had his best matches in TNA.
Well, you know, a lot of people know he was in TNA longer than he was in WWE.
It's so funny when, like, it's a fun fact that people don't remember.
It's crazy.
Don't know.
I would throw Frankie Kazarian in that conversation too. So he had him. And we're talking about like low key was unbelievable. Like to see this guy. And there's so many Chris
James Storm,
Chris Harris. Like they were a big part of the growth.
Think of the moments Elix Skipper had.
Beer money.
I
mean, I look Skipper. I'll tell you this story. I remember he walked the cage.
Yes.
And done that unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that to that point or ever again.
Yeah.
And he was going home the next day. And with Jeff, I was like, are we going to really send him home after that? After he did that? And he thought about it, I guess. It was like, so he ended up saying the next day, for TV because it was just so unbelievable. There's so many guys that make such a big difference. I mean, it's hard to put them out Rushmore together because everybody has their moment and how they got there and how much they meant to TNA. So
the unsung heroes of TNA, especially during that era, are Mike Tenay and Don West.
Oh, wow. Yeah. 100%. Mike Tenay's. It's Mike Tenay.
Oh, he's a legend.
I mean, right? Like he knew. And Don, not knowing exactly what to do, but learning quickly, did an excellent job. I don't care what anybody says. He made it exciting. And I think partly because he was a fan. He was watching from a fan standpoint, you know, which I thought made it really well done.
Some of his calls, like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, yes, that's exactly how we feel.
Yes, yeah. I mean, listen, I have a buddy at home that I bounce stuff off. You know, like I have ideas because he's more of a fan and I'm seeing it from a different. And when you have someone like that to kind of bounce stuff off, it makes sense. You know, like, oh, wow, yeah, that's stupid. Or, no, that'll work.
Yeah.
You know, so it helps having someone like that. And I think that's what Don West gave TNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when I watch old TNA and I hear their commentary, it's like, they are such an underrated commentary duo.
I agree.
Absolutely.
100%.
2016, are you at like a crossroads here? Like, do you have the option to go back to TNA or the option to go to WWE?
So, I think I just burped. Anyway, so a lot of people didn't know this, but Samoa Joe and I are very close. They know that, but they didn't know that I knew that someone may have talked to Shinsuke Nakamura. And we're still in New Japan. Joe tells me, Shinsuke's leaving. I was like, really? Shinsuke's the number 2 guy there by far. Tanahashi, Shin. So I was like, I talked to the boys. I go, I think it's time to pack up. I think we may have peaked if Shinsuke's leaving. And then we started. I think TNA kind of hit me up. I go, well, what about Gallows and Anderson? And we started talking. We had a meeting with them. They wanted us to sign something. I think we may have signed something to say that it was no, you couldn't hold us to anything. It was just saying that we agreed to pay this much. And then during that time, Terry Taylor, who I'm close with, kind of hits me up and just see how I was doing. And I shot him a picture because I told my daughter at the time that we just had a little girl. And he's like, what is that? Like, I don't know how I made a little girl either. I have 3 boys, now a little girl. And we just started talking. And then a picture of a dude wearing a hat came up on the internet, looked like me walking around at NXT. It wasn't me. I don't know who it was. But started circulating.
Everybody thought it was you.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, Terry, is there anything to this? Do they want to see AJ Styles in WWE? Is this a possibility? Listen, don't let your ego get in the way. I was like, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying if there's money to be made, I'd like to make it if it's there. And he goes, well, let me talk to Triple H. And he had see if he called. And so, I guess he talked. Triple H didn't call. Went by, month or whatever. Terry calls, you talk to Triple H. No. He goes, what? I'm going to call him again. So I remember being at Ring of Honor. I was in a hotel room. And then Triple H calls. And we had a really good conversation, a 30-minute conversation. It was really good. Sounded great. And I was like, oh. And nothing had happened with TNA at the time, nothing. So I just, the ball started moving pretty quick. I told him, and they said, as me and Triple H were talking, like the next time, I said, well, I know I got these 2 other guys, Gallows and Anderson. And he goes, I don't know if we're interested in them. I think I was like, okay, I understand. But then the next conversation, yeah, we're taking all of you. I was like, perfect. And then TNA gets wind of, some stuff, and they're like, hey, if you don't apologize, I'm like, for what? I ain't telling you nothing. Get out of here, man. Big John again. So, yeah, everything worked out, and the ball started rolling really quick. And this, I don't know if this story's been told, but when we decided that we were going to WWE, me, Gallows and Anderson, we were kind of going over a match in New Japan in a room, like, and we were like, we're going to tell them together that we're going to do this. And I looked over, and Carl is talking to Ghetto, like, what's he doing? I thought we were gonna, and because I saw this, oh no, and so I was like, oh no, and so we all kind of let the cat out of the bag there, and it was just kind of it was heartbreaking because New Japan was so good to us, so good. But in my head, I thought maybe we had peaked, and that maybe it was time to move on and try something new and go back home. And nothing but respect for New Japan and everything they were able to provide, and the business they did was amazing. No better place that I've been to until that point, right? But changes were made, and within that, I mean, I wrestled the 6th of January. I believe the 5th was Wrestle Kingdom. I think that's right. 5th, and then maybe the 7th. So I don't know what it is.
6th every year.
Is it the 6th or 5th or 6th or something like that? Who knows? We'll find. They'll tell us. Wrestled Corbin Hall, Kenny Omega, and the rest of the Bullet Club beat me up. Oddly enough, maybe it's 5th. Gallows, I think you're right.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson also beat me. I'm like, what are you doing? You know what we're about to do. What are you doing? But that for some reason, Carl couldn't wait to punch me. So, but then I think 2 months after that, they finally show up in Japan or in WWE. But like I said, we decided whether it was the 5th or 6th. Either way,
The first week of January.
I came home to Atlanta, the airport. My family came up. We ate at a restaurant. I got back on the plane. I never went home to my house and flew to Pittsburgh to get all the medical stuff done. So from Japan to Pittsburgh, never going home. And then I think the next week I had a independent show in England. I think I didn't know if I was going to the Rumble. And I believe I said, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to kick some tail, And everybody was like, yeah, I'm not going, guys. And sure enough, I was going. And didn't know they flew me into Tampa rather than Orlando, so they kind of kept it a secret, which was really cool. And nobody really let it out. We said there was a possibility, but nobody expected it. So it was really cool in 2016 to walk out, for sure.
Did you know if the audience was going to know who you were?
Gosh, dude. I've been in Japan for almost 2 years. Independent scene. TNA, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big. Would they know who I am? I don't know. And it was one of the best moments in my wrestling career to walk out and have them make the noise that they made. Oh, man. Like, that moment I will never forget because I was so terrified that I wouldn't get anything. And Vince was going to have me out he was going to have me out third. And he said nobody knew who I was. And, for me, I thought he's probably right. But everybody else who spoke up for me, who had worked with me previously, maybe in TNA or whatever, they're like, I'm telling you, it's going to work. And, man, did it. It was an amazing moment. I didn't really talk to Vince about what I should do. I didn't run to the ring. I just walked and enjoyed the moment. I wish I'd been more pumped about it rather than just looking at people with a straight face. But it was a very, very cool moment.
I was there.
Oh, shoot.
And we popped for the word phenomenal because the word phenomenal comes up on the screen, which they actually missed when you watch it live.
Yeah.
But everybody there is cheering. Oh my God, it's AJ. Like, didn't think it was possible.
What was a cool moment, though, is that you guys made so much noise. The folks at home were like, what is it?
Yes.
Who is it?
Yes.
So it was kind of cool that it worked out that way. But yeah, that was such an unbelievable moment.
Was there a point in your career where you just didn't think WWE was going to happen?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just knew I wasn't going to have a WrestleMania moment. I was never going to have one. I was okay with it. I dealt with that. Like, just because someone may say they're not successful because I've never went to WWE. That's for them. But for me, I'm successful because I found a way to take care of my family. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm doing. If I were get paid anything, I probably wouldn't be wrestling. So the fact that I was able to do something I love and provide for my family, that's successful to me.
Yeah. It's almost like your career. You've had 2 Hall of Fame careers. You're a Hall of Famer for sure in TNA, Hall of Famer for sure now in WWE. And it's amazing because, yes, the same guy, it's AJ Styles, but it's kind of 2 different versions of you too.
100%.
And when you look at that guy, especially when you look at like 2005 AJ, clean cut, short hair, you're in good shape, but you're not in this shape.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that your body's going to change, whether you like it or not. You better figure it out as soon as you can because if for some reason you're going to get wider and not in a good way, like you're not as going to slim as trim as you used to be. Like there's different ways of doing different things. Like everything changes as you get older and you have to figure it out because if you don't, it's going to take a toll on you and you're going to hate the way you look and it's going to go, you're going to get what they call the what the hell effect and you're just going to, I forgot I was having a piece of cake, and that's what happens.
Yeah, one piece of cake turns into 2 pieces of cake.
Yes. And you just go down that road.
Right.
And so my buddy who I've known for 40 years, we played t-ball together. He kept telling me to come get in this cold plunge. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get in the cold plunge. He's like, I'm telling you, it's probably one of the best things you can do. And one day I just went there and worked out with him, and it was terrible. Getting in that cold plunge has literally changed my life.
I'm a cold plunge guy too.
It like that 3 minutes the first time I got in there, I was dying.
3 minutes in a cold plunge feels like 3 hours. If you want time to slow down, get in a cold plunge.
Oh, 100%. But those endorphins you get when you get out, it's addicting. And that's what happened to me. Now, I will say this. I have a cold plunge. I get in it. If I'm going to work out, I'll get in today. If I work out, I will cold plunge before I work out. And I don't ever want to get in.
That's a funny thing, right? Your brain starts playing tricks on you.
Mm-hmm. You know what it's going to feel like.
Yeah.
You've already done this. You know. It just sucks getting that cold water. But anything worth doing, it's not going to be easy. It's going to suck. But the benefits are unbelievable. So just suck it up. I go 5 minutes. And I think I don't have mine. I think I'm at 42 degrees.
That's cold.
When you get to 30s, your feet start hurting real bad. I don't like that. So
recovery is a big part of what you're doing now then.
Yeah.
Sauna as well.
Yeah, because I was just talking about this today as a couple of my friends have gotten the flu and whatnot, and I've been around them. I haven't. I think it has a lot to do with the cold plunge and the sauna. I'm sweating out toxins. I think it has a lot to do with that. I could be wrong. That's in my head that I'm building up the immune system, doing the stuff to myself, and maybe I don't have to worry about cold and flu and all that stuff as much.
But when you came back looking this jacked, that's a decision. That's a decision to bulk up. That's a decision to put on size.
That's the crazy thing is everybody thinks I bulked up. I lost weight. I was not any heavier than I was before. But fasting is a big part of my diet as well. I'd done a 3-day fast, just water. And I'd done that like maybe a week before I came. So I was shredded. I literally just got through doing a 6-day fast, just water. That sucked too. Like, again, anything worth doing is hard. All you got to do is sit in that cold plunge. That's all you got to do is sit down.
You just gotta sit.
All you got to do in a sauna is just sit there.
It's such a mental game.
All you got to do is not eat and drink water. Like these things are easy to do, or they should be. But we're addicted to so many different lifestyles of being easy and nice. And
we're addicted to being comfortable.
Yes. Yeah. You know what the worst time to get the cold plunge is? It's when you're comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's perfect outside. It's perfect inside. Oh, it's great. And then you get the cold plunge like, oh. But if you can get used to being uncomfortable, it's not that hard to be uncomfortable.
Some of the best things in life are hard, and I think they're supposed to be difficult.
Yes. You've got to challenge yourself. And that's what I enjoy, challenging myself. What can I do to make this a little bit harder? And, that has weight training, fasting, sauna, cold plunge, all those play a part. And it's all up here more than anything. If you can get it up here, you can almost do anything.
Yeah. So are you lifting different now?
I lift different. Yeah, it's not the same. Just the way that I lift and not so much heavy weight. Yeah. But by the time I get into those last sets, I'm really struggling, right? And that's what you want. You don't want it to be easy. You don't want to be where you're going to hurt yourself, because if you get too tired in this workout process, you end up doing it wrong. So if you can do it perfectly and it gets very hard to the last set, that's when you grow.
So it's like to failure every time?
Pretty much. Like I want to, by the last 2, if I'm doing sets of 10, by the time I get 8, I'm struggling. I have to decide, especially if I don't have a spotter. Do I want to try for or not? Because I don't know if I can get it up, and it doesn't take a lot of weight to do that. And you try different ways of working out. I don't know if you've had the blood restriction.
Look where we're sitting right now.
Yes.
EDP has the power cuffs.
Yes.
I've worked out with him a bunch with power cuffs.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
And it makes a huge difference. But you're like, I would normally curl like 30s, 35s. He's like, just pick up 10s.
Yes.
You'll see.
Yes. Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple years now. Me and one of the trainers were riding together, and trainers for some reason are all friends. We doesn't matter if it's wrestling or football. And we went to the Kansas City Chiefs and we're working out there, and they showed me those. And it was shortly after I was like, I need them. It's built for injuries, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah. You can get a good workout with very little weight, and it's unbelievably hard. No, a lot of people don't know this, but it's unbelievably hard.
And a lot less stress on your joints.
Right, and that's what it's for, to still get that same pump without all that damage to your joints.
So let's go back to the Royal Rumble. Your debut, the crowd is crazy for it. Did you immediately in that moment impress Vince McMahon?
No, not at all. It was a fluke. I don't know him. And I don't, now I'm pretty sure I wasn't at Raw the next time, but somebody convinced him that it'd be a good idea if I came to Raw the next time. He did not care. A lot of people don't know this. He did not like AJ Styles for whatever reason. I'm sure I gave him a lot of reasons. I'm not the tallest guy. I have a southern accent. There's several things that he hated about AJ Styles. I think that Monday I had a match.
I remember it was in Miami, right?
Yeah. And
The Rock showed up that night.
I had a match, and I was trying to give him what I thought he wanted. A baby face smiling, doing all this stuff. Doing a cool little baby face flip to the outside. I think it was something like that. But he's like, guys, I came back here. I got 1,000 guys who can do what you do. I got all those guys. He said he wanted to see a pit bull. And I was like, oh. And then it kind of got me excited. I was like, oh, okay. I know, as I said before, I know that guy. Yeah. And that's going to be easy. I didn't tell him that. I was like, I know that guy. Let me be that guy. And sure enough, the next week, I think I was on Miz TV. And several people came up to me and said, lay it in. Put it in there. I'm like, what? What has Miz done that he's pissed so many people off that they want me to hurt him? And it wasn't just like one higher up guy. It was a couple of them. And I was like, am I going to beat up Miz, or I have no reason to. And I was like, no. I decided I'm not gonna hurt him. I'm not gonna do that. But it was very intense, that moment that we had together. And I think that's it was a test to see if I was gonna be like a pit bull, like just freaking coming after you, nothing you can do to stop me. I'm getting you. And that's kind of what I gave him. And it was at that moment which took off.
And then from there was stuff with Jericho, right?
Jericho,
and then into Cena.
Was it Roman? Was it Roman?
You know better than
it was 2016. Was it? I want to say it may have been Roman. Jericho. It was Roman, because I won the right to wrestle Roman. I beat Jericho, and it was a 4-way match. And Jericho, I think I beat him to get that opportunity to wrestle Roman, number 1 contender. So Jericho, Roman, Cena.
Beat up John Cena.
We tried to get a shirt made, and Vince was like, absolutely not. I'm like, why?
A lot of people would have bought it.
Yeah. So we tried to get the shirt out there. He said absolutely not. That was gonna be good.
Is there a chance to wrestle Cena on his retirement tour?
I don't know. I don't make those decisions.
That'd be great to see.
I would love to have it for sure. It'd be fun, honestly. I think that there's something about it, you can't explain it. Why him and I gel so well together. I don't know what it is, because we're definitely not the same in any kind of way. It just works. So for the first time I got in the ring with him, it was like, wow, dude, that was cool. So yeah, I would love the opportunity to work with Cena again.
Getting a great night's sleep is one of life's finest luxuries. You gotta check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. They're inspired by